Coming to you live inside Owen Park, Southport. This is the minor semi-final of Rugby League Gold Coast 2019. The Southport Tigers taking on the Tugun Seahawks. Dwayne Neville here, your caller. Absolute pleasure to be back on deck with you for Rugby League Gold Coast action. Of course, last week, Tugun Seahawks getting the job done in the final 5 minutes against Runaway Bay Seagulls, winning that one 26-24. And of course, the Southport Tigers, they went down to the Currumbin Eagles 32-16 at this very ground 6 days ago. Should provide the appetite for an absolute contest where there is no second chances for either team today. As we wait for the two teams to come out in the field, let's give you the tale of tape between the two teams. So the Southport Tigers. Here, Watani is in the fullback position. He is in the back line with Corey Walker, Jack Donlan and Naz Monsale. Barry Ratley completes the back line. Campbell Parihi and Jermaine Dayberg-Muir are in the halves. And in the engine room, we have Luke Paulson, Jacob Pottinger, Denzel Nagati. And in the second row, we have two Vakatiki Pikey. And completing the second row is Jaleel Seve Debras. Locking the scrum is Simone Atta. Liam Hampson, Dallas Donnelly, Lachlan Douglas, and Nathan Young complete the bench. And for the Tugun Seahawks, they are basically 1-17 as they were over with that same lineup where they beat the Runaway Bay Seagulls. It's Corey Morris in the fullback position, Troy Canning, Macaulay Dawson in the centres, and Tim Cassidy, who has been the top try scorer for the Tugun Seahawks and getting done with business. He will looking to do a similar effort today to get the job done. He's paired in the back line with Sammy Latu. In the halves, we have Jacob Grant and Sam Meskel. And in the front row, we have Josh Harvey, Will Johnson, and Levi Norton. In the second row, we have Rob Hapanui, Nick Harold, and Ethan Roberts locking the scrum. Jordan Anoa Fatu, Paul Sheedy, Blake Tillman, and Ryan Martin complete the bench. So Southport, they finished second in the regular rounds with 11-7 record with 143 points differential, finishing on 49 points. Only 5 points separated positions 2 and 5 on the ladder. And this is a competition where 3 points as opposed to 2 gets you the win. That proves just how tight this was between the majority of these teams as we see the Tugun Seahawks come out onto the field. And then to the right-hand side there, the Southport Tigers. Whilst the Tugun Seahawks, they finished fourth with an 8 win, 7 loss, and 3 draws, believe it or not, for 46 points. And you think if they overturned some of those draws, then they might have been playing with a bit more breathing space, but they'll be looking to get the job done to see who they'll play, who, of course, the runner-up of Burleigh Bears and the Currumbin Eagles at Pizzey Park tomorrow. With that being said, we're going to now take a minute's silence in the memory of David Mulligan, who passed away on Tuesday. He's actually the father of Scott Mulligan, who is an ex-Southport Tigers player. May he rest in peace. I also want to take this opportunity to send best wishes and thoughts to all the grief-stricken residents out in the Gold Coast hinterland, of course, from the disaster from those fires yesterday. May they find strength to find their feet. As we get ready for action here, this will be Southport Tigers running to right to left on your screen. Southport Tigers, they've lost. As we get underway here for minor semi-final action here in the Rugby League Gold Coast competition. So the Southport Tigers, they've lost the last 4 games, and on those occasions, 32 or more on 3 of those occasions, they've conceded. But prior to that, they won 5 straight, scoring 48 or more on 4 of those occasions. So they'll be looking to overturn some unlucky fortunes in the previous 4 weeks. So this is going to nice tackle there. That's Dayberg Muir getting around the ankles there, 20 metres out. Tugun Seahawks, they had a fast start last week against the Runaway Bay Seagulls. That'll be the first thing that the Tigers will need to do here, is neutralise that strong attacking prowess that the Tugun Seahawks. So they're seeing side 40. That's going to be taken up there. I think that's Rob Apanui. Does well. 5th and last. This will be 40 metres out from the Tugun Seahawks side. They play the short side. And the kick's got some distance. The kicking into an Northerly West Breeze is going to just beat the likes of Corey Walker. And so this will be interesting, did it? I wonder if Corey Walker got his hands on that before that went over the sideline, and it has. So not the start the Southport Tigers wanted so early in the piece. So the play to watch for here for the Southport Tigers is, of course, Tuatoi Vakatiki Paiki. He is the top try scorer in all, not just for the Southport Tigers, but also in the Rugby League Gold Coast competition with 15 tries. He's also the top point scorer too, which is with 68. And just to reflect on that, that's with a team that's had 3 different goal kickers throughout the course of the season. So they'll be looking for a big game to him. And the Tugun Seahawks know, because he's the next player of the Tugun Seahawks. So let's see what the Seahawks can do. That's going to be Corey Morris there, just inside 20 metres. There's a big right-hand, big side play coming. So this is Levi Norton. He's held there 10 metres out. So this will be Will Johnson, the player. He's probably one of the impressive players from a week ago. That's going in the hands of Jacob Grant. There's a big overlap coming. It's not going to be required. That, I believe, is to be Corey Morris to get the first points here of the second time of asking. And a big start as it was to last week. 4-0 to the Tugun Seahawks. Corey Morris, he had the overlap there at his disposal, was not required. And after having a big game last week, he's done it in the space of the first few minutes. So Corey Morris, that's actually his 4th try for the campaign. Scoring in games on 2 different occasions against last week's opposition, Runaway Bay Seagulls and as well as the Currumbin Eagles. He actually played a bit of football for Fortitude Valley Diehards up in Brisbane. So showing what he can do and getting on with the business early here, Corey Morris. So this will be Sam Meskel to take the kick. He was so impressive on the boot last week, with the exception of just one occasion where he had a kick straight in front of the sticks. But to no fault of his own, he was battling 50-kilometre winds. So I was just making mention, Southport Tigers, they've only had 4 games that have been decided by less than 10 points throughout the season. So they've won big, but they've also gone down on by some margins too. So they don't want to let this one get stretched too far out, despite the fact that they conceded the first try in the first few minutes. So we'll ride this one with Sam Meskel. He's 10 metres out. Sorry, 10 metres in. So that's got the length. Has it got the accuracy? And it certainly has. Great kick there from Sam Meskel to add the extras. They'll now making the score. Tugun Seahawks 6 over the Southport Tigers 0. So the Southport Tigers, they basically, when we received the team sheets here, I think it was yesterday, and comparing to what it was signed off on, they had about no less than 10 either changes in personnel or positional changes. So they want to try and hope that this is the blueprint to get the job done, but it's not the start that they wanted within the first 4 minutes. But that's some impressive defence there by the Tigers to pin the Seahawks there 10 metres out from their own line. So that's good tackle there. I think that's Jake Pottinger getting involved in the tackle as well as Whakatagi Pahi. So they'll play on the short side here. And that will be met in defence there by Tim. Sorry, that's Naz Monzo, I think, was involved, but he's just fallen back into line. That was actually Luke Polson involved in the tackle. They're playing the short side here. That's the man there. Tim Cassidy had scored a double last week. Of course, as I made mention, he's the top try scorer for the Seahawks. So this is going to be played from dummy half on Sammy Latu, another one of those try scorers from last week. So fifth and last. So the Southport Tigers have done well to keep the Seahawks just inside their own half a field. So the bounce suited the Seahawks there, but it's just going to be met there about 10 metres away from the Tigers line. It's play from dummy half, that Whakatiki. So they're playing on the short side early here, the Tigers. Just going to be met there about 35 metres away from the Tigers line. They've conceded 22 or more on 13 occasions, the Southport Tigers. Well, they've scored 30 or more on 9 occasions this year. Only twice have they failed. But here's the interesting stat out of all that, though. Scoring 30 or more on 9 times throughout the season, only twice have they failed to score 30 points and actually won the game. So they're going to know they need a potential big score to get it done today. So that's the kick goes up there by, that was Parihi. And that's going to be collected there by Corey Morris. He'll go for a gallop, and he's going to just that was Dayberg. You were getting involved in the tackle, and he's just done well with the likes of Whakatiki Pikey. And not what the Tigers needed. Conceded a first set penalty. And the Tugun Seahawks will march this one down from inside their own 10 metres. So as this one goes out, it should find 20 metres out, 25 metres out from the Seahawks line. So the Southport Tigers, they've only actually been held to single digits once throughout the year, though. So they've got the points in them. Though what doesn't make good reading about that, it was against the opposition to today, the Tugun Seahawks, where they lost 32-0. So that was a nice run up there by Nick Harold. And so they'll play the short side. The legs there just gave away there. As we played from Will Johnson from dummy half, playing the short side. That's Nick Harold. And so they're just marching up now, just 10 in, just on halfway. This will be Will Johnson to play from dummy half. They're appealing for a penalty to the Seahawks for laying too long in the play. Won't get it. This is going to be Jacob Grant. And he's going to be brought down there by Sever DeBras, 45 metres out from the Southport line. So they're gaining inch by inch here, the Seahawks. The kick, that's a nice long kick. Should be greeted there by Wateni. And he'll go for a gallop now on his 10-metre line. And he's going to be met there in defence there by Rob Apanui. 15 metres out from the Tigers line. Tigers will be wanting to it'll be interesting to see what the Tigers can do when they eventually do get inside the Tugun Seahawks half a field. Seahawks know they've got the points in them, so they're going to want to defend well, not give away silly penalties. Doing well thus far, and that's Jacob Grant. And not what the Tigers needed, just a little error there inside 10 metres out from their own field and 35 out. And this is going to be a set of 6 coming out for the Seahawks, 35 metres out. So, as I made mention a couple of minutes ago, the Southport Tigers, they did a bit. I had to use the correction tape about 10 times from what was the lineup yesterday to what it is today. The interesting fact out of that, so just researching these players during the week, that 8 players at the start of the month didn't even see out the month of March. They played no more than 2 games. 8 Southport Tigers players have scored at least 5 tries this year, so they have got the points. They wouldn't be stressing too much, but that's not going to help matters. That's going to be Troy Canning going for a gallop. He's just got one to beat on his rights. Has he got the momentum to get it over? I think he might. Troy Canning has just had the extras, and it's just now got bad to worse in the space of the first 10 minutes for the Tigers. Down there making the score 10-0. So that just came out of nothing from 35 metres out. They've got it through a quick set of hands there, the Tugun Seahawks, and Troy Canning only had one player on his right to beat, and the momentum did the rest. And so Troy Canning, that's actually his 4th try for this year. He has scored once against Southport in a previous game. And you wouldn't think that this is a team that finished 4th in the Rugby League Gold Coast competition, taking on the team that finished second. What a start from the Seahawks. But then we also got to remember that this is a similar start that they had against the Runaway Bay Seagulls last week. They were up 16-0 in as many minutes. So, and then it was about midway throughout the second half where the Runaway Bay Seagulls had the nose in front and potentially, in all fairness, could have run away with it. But the Tugun Seahawks then gritted hard and got the job done with 2 late tries. So Southport Tigers are going to have to replicate that somehow now, conceding 2 tries in the first 10 minutes. So this will be Sam Meskel to kick it right on the sidelines. We'll have a slight breeze behind him. So the kick goes up and it's just going to go to the left. Thus now making the score. Tugun Seahawks 10, Southport Tigers 0. Of course, we're coming to you live here in Bar TV. We had a little bit of a delay, about 45 minutes to 50-minute delay. About 20 minutes of that was courtesy of the under-20s prelim going into extra time between the Mudgee Bar Redbacks and the Runaway Bay Seagulls, which the Runaway Bay Seagulls won with a field goal. So they'll move on to next week. So a very fast start here by the Tugun Seahawks early, but that's well read in defence. So Southport Tigers do indeed have the points on their side. One player, so every player that featured in last week's lineup in their defeat to the Currumbin Eagles has scored at least once throughout the season. So the tries are in them for the Southport Tigers, but they don't want to concede too many more early. The Tugun Seahawks, what they need to do is make sure that they actually go on and play the whole 80. As I may mention, 16-0 in the first 16 minutes. They sort of put the cue on the rack towards the middle portion of the game. Can't afford to do that today. So this will be Will Johnson play from dummy half. Kick will go up. Nice spiraling kick. Should be greeted there. Well, it's just going to beat with Tenny, but it's going to be met there with Corey Walker. He'll go for a run. And he'll be held there just inside 20 metres from the Southport Tigers line. I really would like to see what the Southport Tigers can do when they eventually get into the opposition 40, because just watching some highlights during the week, they have got the blueprint to pick this lead, this 10-0 lead of the Tugun Seahawks back. But they need to get on the job at the moment. So they'll play the short side here, the Tigers. He'll be met in the tackle there by that's Jacob Grant in defence. So this will be played there. That was Dayberg Muir from dummy half. And he's brought down there. That's Atta. So Seahawks only conceded 45 metres in this set of 6 kick. Nice long kick. And it should be greeted there by Corey Morris. He'll go for a run. And he'll be there 15 metres out from the Seahawks line. He's met in the tackle there by Campbell Paree. Well, I think this is his first game back for some time, Campbell Paree. So that's going to be met in the tackle there by Naz Monzel. And that's Jacob Potting there in defence as well. They're playing the short side. A lot of short side play in the second and third phase here by the Tugun Seahawks. They're just going to try and catch the Southport Tigers napping on that left side. Nice little run there from dummy half by Will Johnson, but he's just met there, blindsided there by Nagati in defence. They play the right side now. Kick will go up in the 4th phase. That's just gone over the heads of, that was Barry Rutley. So this is going to be Watani going for a run. He's going to be met there in defence by Tim Cassidy, 20 metres out. So that's what the Tugun Seahawks needed. They've been well disciplined in the first 15 minutes, and they've just given away a defensive penalty. Tigers now, if they don't see this on halfway, will be close to it. So kick will that's gone just right over our heads here in the commentary box. And they'll have this one 45 metres away from their own line. So this is going to be taken up here by Monzel. 10 inside field. This is going to be taken up here by Jake Pottinger. That's into the hands of, that's Fakatiki Pikey. He offloads it into the hands. That's Pottinger. He'll go for a nice run to bring it centre of field. 35 metres away from the Seahawks line. This is going to be Dayberg Muir from dummy half. That's now into the hands of Watani. Oh, absolutely blindside off the play. And it's for his troubles. It's going to be a penalty given to the Southport Tigers. That was a high hit every day of the week. And the Tugun Seahawks will now see what the Southport Tigers can do in attack. And it's going to be potentially 20 metres out from their own line. So Tugun Seahawks, I made mention, they finished 4th coming into this finals campaign. They finished 5th last year, and they went out in week 2. They don't want a repeat of that last year. 2017, they actually finished in 2nd in week 3. They've got the 3rd best try scorer in the comp, and Tim Cassidy doing the business for them. And Sam Maskell was their top point scorer, tied with 86 points, 3rd overall. And they're looking for a big cameo today from Tim Cassidy after 2 of his backline colleagues have already got on the score sheet. So let's see what the Southport Tigers can do. This kick should see at least 15 to 20 metres out from the Tugun line, or will it? Probably an extra 5 metres off that kick. So this will be now played, now 20 metres out. So this is going to be played from dummy half by, that's Pottinger. That's gone in the hands. That's Luke Polson, go for a big hard run. Does well to get inside the Seahawks 10 metres. So this is Pottinger. He's got options on his left. That's gone in the hands of Dabo Muir. That's into the hand of the top try scorer, Vakatiki Pikey. And he's just going to be held off the ball there 5 metres out. So they'll play, thought about short side, but they'll go for a nice barraging run. It might even pay dividends, or not on this occasion. Hit him a forward pass, and you can just see the frustrations there on the face of the Southport Tigers. That was, for me, a good chance gone begging. There was numbers on the left there too, but then they just switched it at the last second. Now it's going to be a scrum feed now for the Seahawks, 10 metres out from their own line. So for the Southport Tigers, they've got, as I made mention, Vakatiki Pikey has scored 15 tries of the campaign. He's almost doubled, or he's only 1 try off doubling the second best, because no other player has scored more than 8 tries this season. Every player has played at least 4 games this year, though, barring one, I think has scored at some point of the year. Jacob Pottinger, he's one player that's played every game in this campaign. Only 3 others have missed one throughout the year. And they've actually got their best lineup on the field too, or the best they could hope for, because 13 players from last week's lineup against the Currumbin Eagles has played at least 10 games or more throughout the year. So they've got some experience on the field, the Southport Tigers, but they would like to not give away too many chances that we just saw the previous set of 6. So this is going to be played from Will Johnson from dummy half. That was in the hands of Levi Norton. And this is going to be nice barraging tackle there by Arta. Pushes them back an extra 10 metres. Well played there by Arta around the legs tackle, and forced a mistake to boot. That's the cherry on top for the Southport Tigers. And that's going to lift their tails up a bit and potentially, let's see if it comes out of points. So the scrum will go down 35 metres out from the Tugun Seahawks line. And that's going to be a blood bin for who, I'm not sure. So we'll just see who that is for. Yeah. So that's actually Barry Rutley there that's been summoned to the blood bin. Or is it? Was it actually? So it was actually Denzel Nagati that was actually summoned to the blood bin. My apologies. So that was off the back of a big hit. Of course, Denzel Nagati is an ex-Burleigh Bears under-20s player, so he want to get there and get on with the job, potentially facing the Burleigh Bears, his ex-team, either in next week's prelim final or the grand final. Of course, as I mentioned, Burleigh Bears and Currumbin Eagles tomorrow at Pizzey Park. Scotty, he'll be on deck to call that one tomorrow for Bar TV. So, oh, geez. They've had the opportunities thus far, the Southport Tigers, but on the first play, they're going to hand that one right back over the Tugun Seahawks. Oh, actually, no, sorry, there's actually a penalty given to the Southport Tigers. So, well, there you go. The Southport Tigers off the hook to a point. So this is Arta with the first run. He's going to be brought down there. He's just lost the ball. And another penalty given by the Tugun Seahawks. And the Tigers are now will march another 10 metres potentially off this play. This is going to be Nagati. Does so, 20 metres out. This is going to be played here by Pottinger from dummy half. There goes the short side into the hands. That's Dayberg Muir. Okay. He's going to be held there 10 metres out on the second phase of play. Vakatiki Pikey from dummy half. And you look at him in the second row, he's very lean for a second row. He's got absolute prowess. And they managed to offload. Could this be the first points coming for the Tigers? And he goes for it. Yes, it will be the first points coming for the Southport Tigers. Right in the corner there. I think that was Barry Rotley getting over the stripe. And it's now game back on after a shaky first quarter of the game for the Tigers. This is going to be now potential nightmares revisited for the Tugun Seahawks. Time for a fast start. Southport Tigers now getting on the board 10-4 with a kick to come. So Barry Rutley, that's his 4th try of the campaign. That includes a double against the Almost Shearers. He's one of the 3 goal kickers I made mention of at the top of the program. He's got 25 goals to his skyrocket. He's actually an ex-Cabramatta player. He's also played a bit of footy for the Logan Brothers in Townsville. He actually played also for the Pinkerton Magpies in Group 6. And as early as this year, I think, so it must have been a late season trade-off from the Pinkerton Magpies in the Group 6 competition down at, I think that's out in southwestern Sydney. Also played a bit of football for the Femelle Roosters in the same competition in Group 6. So what a handy pickup and what a handy 4 points. And to be fair, absolutely had to be needed to break this momentum that the Seahawks have pressed in the first 20 minutes. And this will be Jack Conlon to add the extras from about 5 metres inside field, 25 out. So it's got the distance, has it managed to swing it over, not quite, so thus now making the score still remaining. Tugun Seahawks 10, Southport Tigers 4. So the Southport Tigers, every player has played at least 4 games, has scored once this year, barring 2 of their players. One of those 4 only played 4 games, so for the Tugun Seahawks, they've had a very topsy-turvy season coming into this final series, although they'll be looking to be going for this impressive run from 4th position. They won the last 4 that they played in, but they lost the first 3 coming at the start of the year. They had a 4-win, 2-draw, and 1-loss record since that shock loss they had to Ormo back in round 14. They've had a very topsy-turvy season, though, to be fair. After that shock 22-16 loss against Ormo, they actually went on to beat the Burleigh Bears 18-16. So, I guess it goes to show that any given Sunday, so to speak, I said that at a meeting, at a presentation dinner last night, obviously referencing the NRRL Grand Final between Ballina and Mooloolaba, that anyone can win on their day, and it's certainly showing the case in this final series. So this is going to be Jacob Pottinger now to play 45 metres out. That's going to the hands of Vakatiki Pikey. Big high kick. He's got some numbers on the right here. This ball will be anyone's. It's just going to miss everyone completely, though. So whether that was a hand or not, I'm not sure. But should be, and it is, a Tugun Seahawks scrum feed 20 metres out from their own line. So Tim Cassidy coming into this one. I think he's the only player on the Tugun Seahawks roster that scored at least 10 tries or more for this season. He had an extra couple last week against the Runaway Bay Seagulls. 2 others have scored at least 5 or more, and Jacob Grant for 6 and Wyndham Peachy for 5. So they'll be looking for cameos today. So nice legs tackle there, 20 metres out from the Seahawks line. This will be Johnson to play from dummy half. He'll be met in the tackle there by, I think that's Nagati. So he's got no strapping there, Nagati. So they managed to heal that cut up well, which of course 5 minutes ago he had to go to the blood bin. This will be Johnson there from dummy half. Oh, nice tackle around the ribs there from the Southport Tigers. And that was Arta getting involved in the tackle there. So that's going to, I think that's Levi Norton there. Does well to get 40 metres out. So this will be played from Johnson from dummy half. So that was actually Nathan Young getting involved in that last tackle. Nice spiralling bomb and well read there off the kick there. That was Wateni. That's gone into the hands of Corey Walker. And he's just going to have too many Seahawks bodies on him there. 10 metres out, 5 inside field. So, nice tackle there. That's Rob Apanui getting involved there. 15 metres away now from the Tigers line. So they'll play the short side here. He's going to be brought down the tackle. I think that's I believe that was, I think, Sam Meskel getting involved there. Could be wrong. He's just over the other end of the field. So that's going to be 30 metres away from the Tigers line. They've already got some pep in their step after that try 5 minutes ago. They're playing on that short side. So this will be fifth and last. So they're now 45 away from their own line there, the Southport Tigers. I think that'd be Vakatiki Pikey sends that one down. Oh, the bounce just beats everyone. That's gone right into the chest of Naz Monsell. They'll have another goal here on the short side here. That's gone into the hands of Barry Rutley. He's looking for a double. Gets it into the hands of Parihi. And this should level it up now for the Southport Tigers. He had a gap the size of the Grand Canyon. And the Tugun Seahawks, as I made mention about 5-10 minutes ago, fast start, and it's just now that nightmare's now become a reality from 7 days ago. After a fast start, they're going to be extinguished as quick as that to now make it 10-8 kick to come. We'll just confirm the try scorer, Barry Rutley. That's a double within the space of 5 minutes. And I think Sorry, it wasn't Barry Rutley. We just got a bit of confusion here on the try scorer. That was actually Jack Conlon who scored that one. Jack Conlon does well and basically had a whole cap to himself to get it done, but that not taking anything away from Barry Rutley. I was just about to say there, he set up his own try in a way. He just passed it off but that's a try assist to his column nevertheless. So Jack Conlon, he was actually named at fullback going in on the prelim sheets, but he's been shifted to centre. That's his 5th try for the campaign. He's also one of those free goal kickers I made mention at the start. He's got 22 for the season. He's played Intrust Super Cup for the Tweed Seagulls in 2017. He's also a Sawtell Panther in the Group 2 competition as well, or ex-Southport Sawtell Panther, I must say. As the kick goes over, and Easy Like is now level pegging here at Owen Park and Southport, 10 apiece here in the minor semi-final of the Rugby League Gold Coast competition. And we're about 15 minutes and change here before the break. As I made mention, Jake Conlon, he's also represented the Gold Coast Vikings at representative level, represented at New South Wales CIS under 15s, and he played a bit of Australian schoolboys footy at 18s level, I think. The Australian schoolboys competition, represented the East Coast Dolphins under 18s, and he also represented South East Queensland in the state championship. So what a resume there for Jack Conlon. And he's getting on with business here. And Southport Tigers, after a really shaky start, are getting on with the business also. So Southport Tigers there, they're about 20 metres away from, or 30 metres away from their own field. They play the short side. That's Vakatiki Pikey. I'm really keen to see if he can get on the score sheet. He's done it 15 times this year. And there's a nice big run to get there by the Southport Tigers, 38 metres away from the Tugun Seahawks line. This is going to go into the hands now. I think that's Jake Pottinger goes for it. He's going to be held there 30 metres away. So this is the 5th and last. Southport Tigers now. The momentum has well and truly swung their way. This is Dayberg Muir that goes for it. He's going to be held off the ball. Well tackled there by Ethan Roberts. And now this will be a restart now. About 20 metres away from the Tugun Seahawks line. So this will be now played from dummy half by Corey Morris. And nice tackle there by Atta. And the ball's just come loose. And now I think he's calling a knock on here against this, against the Southport Tigers in hands in the ball. We'll just see what the referee calls here. And this would be a scrum feed to the Seahawks. So yes, he must have just had his hands in the ball. So as we were. So this would be Jacob Grant to feed it. So for the Tugun Seahawks, they've had 2 players that played every game this year, Nick Harold and Josh Harvey. But I think, just running my eyes over the sheet, Josh Harvey's not actually featured today. So that honour will now just go to Nick Harold, who is playing in the 12 jersey. So these two games. So I just made mention a couple of minutes ago about the topsy-turvy. Well, you can throw the Southport Tigers in this too. They've both had very topsy-turvy seasons. We just look at the 2 head-to-head. So the Tugun Seahawks lost 52-12 back in round 13. Then 7 weeks later, they won 32-0. So, doesn't get any topsy-turvy than that. So, to the Seahawks there, they're going to be held there 48 metres away from the Tigers line, but now that's going to see that one another 10, 15 metres down the field, so bit of a defensive penalty there from the Southport Tigers. So this will be Sam Meskel to send this one downtown. And they'll play this now 25, 28 metres or so from the Tigers line. So this is going to be Macaulay Dawson. So the Tugun Seahawks, they've had a whopping 11 games out of 19 decided by 6 points or less. So if this does become a close game, and as I may mention, the Southport Tigers, they either win big or they lose, or they go down just as big. If this becomes a close game, and especially after last week, the Seahawks might look favourites. But we'll see what comes out of this. So 11 out of 19, that's with a 6-win free draw and 2-loss record. So they've won 6 out of 9 of those. So manages to get the offload. They'll bring that back on the short side. They offs into the hands of Corey Morris. And he opts to go left, but he's going to run backwards. Oh, what a tackle there. So Corey Morris just donated about 10 metres to the Southport Tigers. And that's going to be a nice barraging run to get that 10 metres back. So they're 10 metres out, fifth and last. This is going to be Will Johnston to play from dummy half. He'll play the short side. He'll kick that one across the carpet. Oh, yeah, I think he might have just been taken off his ball there. I don't think that's going to matter. The Tugun Seahawks are now back in business. I thought there Will Johnson was just taken off his own kick. But Ethan Roberts will now add the extra points now for the Tugun Seahawks to make this 14-10. So Ethan Roberts, what a try from him to collect the spills. That's his second try for the campaign. He also featured in the score try sheet last week against Runaway Bay. He's also scored against Runaway Bay during the season. He's also scored in one of the games against Southport as well. And he's also one of those Tweed Seagulls and Trust Super Cup representatives. And it's a bit of a cameo from a bit of the Group 2 coming to this one. He's a South Grafton Rebel Wool Junior. Well, I suppose they play in Group 1. So a bit of New South Wales Country Rugby League experience getting on the try sheet for both teams. And, of course, Stephen Roberts, he was a member of the NYC Gold Coast Titans in the 2016-17 squad. So Tugun Seahawks, they remind me a bit of the Mooloolaba Mustangs in the way they do the way they attack. Of course, they play in that grand final tomorrow against the Ballina Seagulls. So this will be Sam Meskel. He'll add the extras. And it's just going to go over the face of goal. And now they're making remaining the score. Tugun Seahawks 14, Southport Tigers 10. With about 9 minutes and change to go. So Tugun, of course, not far away from Wollumbar. So similar blueprint, and as I made mention, they've got that task against Ballina Seagulls in tomorrow's NRL Grand Final. I'm looking forward to calling that one tomorrow afternoon out at Ballina. But of course, it's Rugby League Gold Coast action here on Bar TV this Saturday afternoon. I trust you enjoying the coverage. And that's just slipped out of the hands of, I think that was Troy Canning. And as fast as they've got back into this game, they're now going to invite Southport Tigers to respond just as quickly. The Southport Tigers. So this will be a drop. Let's see what comes off this dropout. There is a bit of a breeze now coming just behind the back of the Tugun Seahawks. So for the Tugun Seahawks, only 3 players that played last week have not scored throughout the season. All 3 have played 7 games or less. So this will be now played 40 metres out in the first phase of play. Every player that has played at least 9 games, though, for the Tugun Seahawks has scored this year. they've conceded double digits in every game, with the exception of two. On both of those occasions, they held the teams to nil, and one of them is today's opposition, the Southport Tigers. So this is going to be taken up there. It's Nathan Young, 10 metres away from the Seahawks line. They'll play I thought he was going to play short side there, but there's a big overlap here for the Southport Tigers. And, oh, geez, he's just dropped that one over the line. That should have been extra points there for the Southport Tigers. I was just about to say, how are they going to respond just as quickly after conceding a try? And I think that's going to be one that goes begging. And if this one is going to be in the 6 points or less column, you can mark that down to potentially Southport Tigers exiting straight sets if they give away too many of those. Tugun Seahawks, no doubt, off the hook with about 7 minutes and change left in the first half here at Owen Park. This has been an absolutely cracking contest, as many have predicted. Southport Tigers, I may mention, they're 4 games on the bounce on the defeat column. Not something that you want to take into a final series, but that all matters for very little at the moment. They want to try and redeem and potentially take on either the Currumbin Eagles or Burleigh Bears. Of course, that's tomorrow's game at Pizzey Park, and you'll see that right on Bar TV. Burleigh Bears, Tugun Seahawks were the only team I believe, to have defeated them, and covering one of their other games at Pizzey Park back in the month of May, they also snagged a draw against them too. So Seahawks, they would like their chances. They can go deep, and that's not going to help matters. So kick that one right over on the full, and the Southport Tigers will have a scrum feed. Oh, sorry, that was on the 5th and last, so it'll be a restart. 40 metres out from the Tugun Seahawks line. So this will be played by, I'm not sure, not sure. So this will be now going into the hands of, that's Pottinger. Nice pass into the Vakatiki Pikey. And he'll be held there 30 metres out. Good tackle there by Ethan Roberts, one of the try scorers from earlier. They're playing the short side. That's gone into the hands of Paulson. Paulson beats about 3 players, but he's going to be met there by Nick Harold. 15 metres out. So this will be played by Ano Fatu. That's gone into the hands of, apologies. That was Liam Hampson there before. So they'll play that into a nice dummy run. That's gone. Oh, that was into the hand. That's now Vakatiki Pikey. That's gone in the hands of Monsell. And he's just done a little 360 attacking run. That's gone into the hands of Hampson. Hampson in the hands of Vateni. Vateni into the hand. That's gone into, I think that's Parihi. He brings it back left side. It's now 5th and last. 5 metres away from the Seals line. Can they undo the wrongs from that previous set of 6 before? Nice kick across the carpet. And I think they've got this one, the Southport Tigers. They're liking it. Nice attacking kick. And they basically had 2 players to get the business done. Not sure who did it, but it's business done for the Southport Tigers to level this one back up at 14 apiece and potentially get their noses in front. So Jacob Pottinger, the dummy half, has added to potentially for the Southport Tigers to get in front. Who would have thought 20 minutes previous where they had very shaky start, where the Tugun Seahawks scored in the first 10 minutes, I must say. But the Southport Tigers, it's just going to potentially have their noses in front with about 3 minutes and change. Seahawks, they'll be kicking themselves after that fast start. And the Southport Tigers, who in the first 20 minutes had no right to be in front, but they're going to have a kick now to do just that. So we'll just ride this kick over with the Southport Tigers. And that's easy as you like. So now the Southport Tigers have got themselves in front, 16-14 over the Tugun Seahawks here at Owen Park at Southport for the minor semi-final. There's no second chances for today's runners-up. Southport Tigers, they do not want to be that team that finishes second and go out in straight sets. Trust you join the coverage here on Bar TV. It's an absolute pleasure bringing you this action here at Owen Park at Southport. And the Tugun Seahawks, they don't want to let's be fair, ill afford to let Southport go for another one, score another one with a couple of minutes left, but that's not going to help business for the Southport Tigers. This has been really tit-for-tat action, which was certainly the case for the Tugun Seahawks last week against Runaway Bay. And begs the question, having that experience from seven days ago, they eventually got the job done, be it there was controversy about the kick towards the end, but can they ill afford to allow this one to get close again? But then again, will the experience at the end of that, as opposed to Southport Tigers, get the job done? But let's see what they can do with this play. This is going to be taken up here by, that's Ethan Roberts. They're just in 10 inside field. This is going to be Will Johnson. He goes himself, and he's just going to be wrapped there about 3 or 4 Tigers players. And Southport Tigers are just going to hit the reset button on the tackle count, conceded a defensive penalty. So the Tugun Seahawks, they'll have a minute and change to get something done. They should see out the set of 6. So this is going to be Jacob Grant. Passes into the hands. I think that was Nick Harold from... So that was actually Blake Zillman that's gone in through the hands. Oh, nice barraging run, but well tackled the defence there by Ano Fatu. And they'll get it through hands. Oh, well intercepted there by the Tigers. But he's just going to be held off his line. That's well taken off the tackle there. I think that was Dayberg Muir. And there was a bit of a back play, late hit there by the Tugun Seahawks. But wow, Dayberg Muir eagle-eyed that in defence. And I think we should see a penalty coming in for the Southport Tigers there for a play off the ball. Wow, Dayberg Muir. He just had 2 players on his right side, and he was just thrown off his run. Had an absolute trend line to run 85 to 90 metres on the fly. But the train got derailed, and he was just there, couldn't regather his feet, and he was just held on his own 30-metre line. So this will be Watani now to play it from dummy half, 30 metres out from the Tigers line. They've got a big, deep left side play. And there's about 40 seconds on the clock here. So they'll probably have about 2 plays for at most. So that's going to be taken up there by Jacob Pottinger inside 40. So there's 30 seconds left in the first half. Seahawks, after a fast first 20 minutes, scoring the first 2 in the first 10, and now staring down the barrel of being behind in this game, but still another 40 minutes to come after this, or potentially extra time. And if it's anything like, oh, geez, that's a chance gone begging. So this will see, that should be the last play of the first half. I was about to mention, if it's anything like the under-20s game, then we're going to potentially have to bring the sleeping bags here at Owen Park. It's a nice box up here, so it'd be a nice place to have it. So hopefully that's not required. So that's the end of the first half here at Owen Park in the minor semi-final for the Rugby League Gold Coast competition here on Bar TV. And you'd think if this was just in general play, you'd think the Tugun Seahawks, they would have liked to have been out for potentially a 3-4 converted try lead, but that is not the case. The Southport Tigers found their groove and have themselves noses in front. Half-time here at Owen Park in Southport as the Southport Tigers 16 to the Tugun Seahawks 14. We're going to take a little breather for the next 10 minutes, and we'll be back with you for the second half of action. Dwayne Neville back with you here at Owen Park at Southport for the second half of action between the Southport Tigers and the Tugun Seahawks. If you just joined us, on paper, Tugun Seahawks were looking probably the more impressive team, but what it matters is on the scoreboard. Southport Tigers with their nose in front of 16-14 with about 40 minutes and potentially extra time to come. And just reading some of the Facebook comments just at halftime, just to answer your questions, who won the previous games, that would be, well, in the under-20s, as I made mention, there was about 20 minutes of extra time. It was locked up at 18-all, but the Runaway Bay Seagulls got the field goal. And just watching a bit of that game too, I think that Mudgery-Bar Redbacks, I think they were playing, was it Mudgery-Bar? Yeah, it was yeah. Yes, okay, so just confirm it was Mudgery-Bar Redbacks that they were playing against, and they had about 3 or 4 chances inside the Seagulls 10, and they opted to go for the try. They didn't really make an effort to take a field goal. So just to paint a bit of a picture on that, and of course in reserve grade, I don't know what the final score was, but it was Mudgery-Bar got a 48-22. Mudgery-Bar got over the Burleigh Heads Bears. So both Burleigh Heads and the under-20s Mudgery-Bar Redbacks team are done for 2019 in their campaigns. So this will be now the Tugun Seahawks running right to left on your screen. This has got the potential to be another grandstand finish for the Tugun Seahawks, but will they be able to do twice in a row? We'll find out in 40 minutes' time as the Southport Tigers will get us underway here in the first play of action here in the second half. So he's held there 15 metres inside the Tigers half a field. So this is going to be a nice galloping run. That was a nice offload there by Fakatiki Pikey. And he's just held there 5 metres away, 30 metres out from the from the Tigers line. So for the Tugun Seahawks, they'll be trying to look for a similar start, which they did in the first couple of minutes, like they did last week and this week. So when you look at compare the two, when it comes to tries scored throughout the year, Southport starting this game on 100 neat, and Tugun they went across the stripe at 73. Southport had 27 different try scorers compared to Tugun's 22. Southport have used 43 players throughout the year compared to Tugun's 39. Head to head, despite Southport losing 32-0 in their last contest, they have an aggregate of 92 and 66 over 3 games. So Southport, they've only won once. Those two featured in an elimination final last year as well, where Tugun just got the job done here at this very ground, 26-22. And Southport have only won once out of the 4 prior to that. So once again, it's an elimination to a point. And I dare say Southport will be looking for the last laugh and potential revenge to send Tugun packing this time around. So it'll be now 5th and last. So it'll be Will Johnson to play it. That's nice long kick there from Jacob Grant. And it's met there. I think that's going into the hands. I think that's Corey Walker. And he's going to be held there 32 metres away from the Southport Tigers line. So they bring this now just 40 metres out on the second phase of play. So the Tugun Seahawks thus far holding their defence well. That was passed there by Watani. That's Fakatiki Pikey. And he's going to be held there about 3. Tugun Seahawks players. A good tackle there from Nick Harold. And they're just shy of the halfway line. So this is going to be brought down to the tackle there. I think that could have been Nick Harold getting involved there. So that's going to be played there by, that's Prahini. Looking for the offline, won't do it. This is the 5th and last. And just for their trouble there, the Southport Tigers have just right on their 5th phase of play. Is going to hand this one back to the Tugun Seahawks inside their own 40 metres. So for the Tugun Seahawks, 10 players they used last week have scored at least 3 tries or more this year. Or at least 3 times, I must say. So they've got attack across the park, just like the Southport Tigers do. Good legs tackle there, 5 metres inside field, inside 40. It was looking to just get that off the play of the ball. That's a nice little pass there from Corey Morris. And Seahawks there, they're going to be held there 45 metres away from the Southport line. This is going to be taken up in centre of field. Good tackle there by Liam Hampson. They're 35 out. Nice little dummy half run there by Will Johnson. Does well to get about 20 metres on the fly there. And they're 20 metres out from the Southport Tigers half line. This is going to be taken up here by Rob Abanui. And they're 10 metres out. So I want to make this, keep this tit for tat to a point here. The Tugun Seahawks, can they get the lead back from this play? Whether that was played out, I'm not sure. We'll see what the referee calls. He did say that the Tigers did play at it. And there's a bit of protest in the crowd there by the loyal Tiger supporters just behind the Tigers there. And just for their troubles, they're giving away a penalty on the first phase there. The Southport Tigers. Now, do the Seahawks kick this to level this back up, or will they run it and trust their attack? As I may mention, 10 players have scored at least 3, but they're going to play the safe option and make this potentially 16 apiece. So at this point of the game last week, the Seahawks, this was at the point last week where they let Southport back into the game. And it's got a little bit of a different feel to it because they had a big lead of 16-0 and then Runaway Bay, they didn't get in front till about 20 minutes left in the game, and at which point they held on to it till the last 5 minutes. But they're playing behind the 8 ball at the moment when, in all fairness, Tugun Seahawks, you'd make a good case for being in front, but at the moment, they're going to have to work hard now to get this lead back. This is going to be the potential start of it if they can roll on with some momentum. This will be, I think this is going to be Sam Maskell to add the extras. And nice kick from Sam Maskell. Adds the extra to make it 16 apiece here at Owen Park in Southport. So Sam Maskell, that was in similar position than where he kicked against Runaway Bay, where he was contending against 50-kilometre winds and Airbus A320s flying over the head, because that one didn't go over the black dot like it did in this occasion. But well kicked there by Sam Maskell, and we're now back at level pegging with about 35 minutes left here. And of course, we will, if we do have extra time, just as we did in one of the prelim games here, as I made mention, it'll be 5 minutes. There'll be one lot of 5 minutes until a point is scored, and then they might. And I think then what happens is then they change over, and then they just play until someone gains a point. And in which case, it felt like Affinity in the prelim game. It was eventually 20 minutes. As I may mention, I didn't know if I was going to have to bring my sleeping bag or not today. But as we may mention, we'll worry about that if it comes to it. So the Tugun Seahawks, they certainly don't want this to go the extra time. I don't think, neither do the Southport Tigers. So this is going to be taken up here by, I think that's, I'm trying to make it who that is. That's, I think that was Ethan Roberts. So they're playing on the left side here. So that's now Rob Apanui. He's going to be brought down there by Seve Durbas. So that's going to be our 5th and last at 35 out. Good, nice kick across field there by Jacob Grant. Well plucked at defence. There's no one in front of him for the Southport Tigers. This is going to be Corey Morris. Can he cut him off in time? I don't think he's going to catch him. What a defensive play by the Southport Tigers to get themselves back in front and potentially get this finals train rolling back on course after being 4 games down off the bounce. I think that was there. Corey Walker read that well off the kick. Sorry, that was actually Barry Rutley, and I believe that will be his double this time. Barry Rutley. What a big way. Now, can that also bring the momentum to go with it? As well as a 20-16 kick to come. 20-16. Southport with their noses in front. Barry Rutley, well read off the kick. Only had Corey Morris to beat. Corey Morris done well. He was coming from the other side of the field. And if you think, if that was about, if we were playing with 110 metres here, you probably would have got him.
Number 1 had toes. He had new wheels.
So let's see what they can do with this kick here, the Southport Tigers. Despite finishing second, a lot of the pundits a lot of the people writing online and some of the people I was talking with who have links with the competition up this way, who were saying that Tugun, being on the road, despite finishing fourth, were probably deservedly the favourites coming into this one. But as I made mention at the start of the game, 5 points were separated between second and fifth spot. And to those unfamiliar with the Rugby League Gold Coast competition, it's 3 points for winners as opposed to 2 in most competitions. So there was only a win and a bit between fifth and second spot. And, almost as the kick goes up. And there's the extras there for the Southport Tigers. Just now making the score. 22-16. And I was just about to slip the tongue to say Tugun's been a long end Triple RL season covering down there. The Tugun Seahawks, they more or less had three games that were drawn. And if you think that if they overturned, say, 2 of those, that's four extra points, then maybe they would have been sitting in second. So let's see what the Seahawks can do with and can respond off that. It's just been that kind of game for the Seahawks. They're playing well for about 4/5 of the game and then just letting the Tigers get back on with the job. So that's going to be taken up there by, that was Dallas Donnelly. He's just come onto the field. So, yeah, the Tigers there appealing. They're going to get a penalty. And that's for being too long on the ball there, the Tugun Seahawks. So it's been a bit tit for tat for both teams at this point in time. Tugun Seahawks are not ill afford. Back-to-back tries on the bounce from the Southport Tigers. Or it's going to be a long trip back down the M1 or down Bermuda Street. Or coming up from Byron Bay today. Going, instead of taking up the M1, going through the Bermuda Street. Good clear run there too. Didn't have to face too many sets of lights when normally coming up this way. So Tugun Seahawks, they have a long trip back down Bermuda Street or the M1, whichever way it go, if they do not come back with the next try, because Southport Tigers, their momentum is looking strong, and they're looking to do the business here, 15 metres away from the Seahawks line. That was Atta. And I think the referee, so let's see what the referee's called out of this. And I think he's called so it's going to be a scrum feed. I'm not sure why. That was just in my blind spot. I couldn't really make out what that was. So we can just confirm there with our trusty cameraman to my right here. He's saying it was lost forward there from the Southport Tigers. So Tugun Seahawks, they're still in business. But they've got to make the most of their opportunities from here. So this would be Sam Meskel to play from half. Met there in defence by, that was Liam Hampson. So they'll play this 20 metres out, the Seahawks. So that was Corey Morris from dummy half. And he's just going to be met in the tackle there by Vakatiki Pikey. So they're now 35 metres away from their own line, the Seahawks. And he met there in defence, so they've done well to get 10 metres off the bounce here, the Seahawks. And then looking to their forwards to get the metres, and then they're looking for a big, and I can see here on the left side now, they're looking to go through their backs here. This is going to be Meskel, cut out pass into Morris. Morris flicks it back in. He brings it into the hands of, that is Rob Abenui. And it's fifth and last, just about 2 metres inside field. They're about 25 out from the Southport line. He's appealing for a penalty here, Rob Abenui. Won't get it. It's going to be Dawson from dummy half. Meskel sends that one up high. And there is about 4 chases here for the Seahawks. And they were hoping for a better bounce, but it's just gone into the hands there of Barry Rutley. And they'll be playing it just off their own line, the Tigers. Met in defence there by, I think that was Tim Cassidy in defence. So they've managed to keep Tim Cassidy quiet here, the Southport Tigers. That's probably one of the missions accomplished to a point, because he's been there, but just above and beyond the Tugun Seahawks' best attacking player, and it shows with 12 tries for the campaign. So they're playing the short side. That's going into the hands of Liam Hampson. He's got one to beat, and Corey Morris, will he be able to make it this time? Oh, geez. So that's going to be... So this should be play on. It is play on. Lachlan Douglas has just picked up the spells. This should be 6 to go with about 10 metres to play with, and it's just for the add injury to insult, and there it is. Had to be 10 in the bin there for the Tugun Seahawks. Sam Maskell, the halfback, I think has just been sent for an early shower. Sam Maskell, that is potentially a game-changing effort there for the Tugun Seahawks. Sammy Maskell, the halfback, is going to be set. Is going to be asked to think about it now for 10 minutes. And for me, I don't think that was necessary. I think they had the defence well and truly intact, the Tugun Seahawks, and Sam Maskell. Whether that's going to prove the points remains to be seen. Is that going to be Seven DeBasco over? Not quite. This is Hampson. That's gone into the hands of I think Nagani likes it. The Southport Tigers like it. And that's not what the Tugun Seahawks needed. Back-to-back tries on the bounce. And the Southport Tigers are now going to extend this lead even further for 26-16. And Lachlan Douglas gets himself on this party of try scorers for the Southport Tigers. And who would have thought in the first 10 minutes of this game that the Tugun Seahawks now going to be playing from 10 points, potentially 10 points down. Correction, are 10 points down, 26-16. So Lachlan Douglas. That's his second try of the campaign too. He played at Colts level for the Tweed Seagulls as well as the Burleigh Bears. And he's been a Southport, this is the one thing I looked at when I was doing the research for this game during the week. He's been a Southport Tiger since under 14s level. So he's been playing basically his whole career for the Southport Tigers. And so he would have played many big games here on this Owen Park turf. And no bigger player than that to stretch this lead even further for the Southport Tigers. I made a bit of a reference, as I made mention, as the kick goes over. Barry Rutley has the extras to make this now 28 points to 16. As I was making mention, I was making a reference to Moolumbar Mustangs. Sorry, Tugun Seahawks reference to Moolumbar Mustangs and why they played. This Southport Tigers outfit reminds me of the Ballina Seagulls, as I made mention in the NRRL Grand Final tomorrow, the two oppositions. But the way the Ballina play, and this is how Southport have been playing, they're sort of figuring out the opposition. They sort of lie on the ropes a bit, sort of like Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, rumble in the juggle. You could kind of put that, if you want to use a boxing reference, they sort of just lay back, let Tugun throw everything at them, and to a point, as a consequence, let them gas themselves out, because the Southport Tigers are now going up a notch, and now with a comfortable lead, but at 12 points, not comfortable in the terms of 23 minutes to go, but they could even stretch this out even further at 6s and 7s of Tugun defence. That's going to be going up there that was Watani. And this is going to be Liam Hampson to play from dummy half. They go on the right side. There's still 6s and 7s defence for the Tugun Seahawks. That will be 6 more. Will it be required? I don't think. So what's going to be? Is this going to be advantage or not? Or is he going to play advantage here for the Southport Tigers for that knock on? He will. So there'll be a scrum feed now, 10 metres out from the Seahawks line. And if it wasn't for that knock on, then you'd think it'd almost be good night, Irene, as we head into the final quarter of this one here in the minor semi-final of the Rugby League Gold Coast competition. So as the scrum goes down, this will be Parihi to play it from half. So this will be, as the heads now go down, this will be now Played off the hands of, that's Hampson. Hampson into the hands of Dayberg Muir. There was an overlap there for the Tigers, but they bring this back center of field. Tugun Seahawks. They want to keep a solid defense here. One more could send them out the back door for season 2019. So as we play from dummy half. That dummy half runs well. Work for him. It's going to pay dividends again from this time. And that is now potentially going to be thank you, good night for Tugun Seahawks for 2019. And who would have thought that we're now staring down the barrel of a 32-16 scoreline with 21 minutes and change left. But the Tugun Seahawks, I think that Sammy Meskel, having him off the field, he's their game player. He also helps organise the defence, and I just think ever since he's been off there, been at 6s and 7s, the Tugun Seahawks defence, and that's probably going to be more costly than even I thought and I predicted. Sort of reminded me when I was covering Wollongbar versus Casino last week. In that game, Casino were winning 10-0, and they finished their season in the RRL in third position, and Wollongbar, for about 50, 60 minutes of that game, they were just, well, basically, they were still slightly in it in the scoreboard, despite not even scoring. They were down 10-0. And then Roy Bell, who was the Casino captain, he got sent off for a late hit. And when he went off, that just changed the whole complexion of the game. And when Wollongbar scored no less than 16 points in the final 10 minutes, and this has sort of got the same ring to it. And as the kick goes over, 34-16. Southport over Tugun. So that sort of has a similar ring to it, unfortunately. But Sammy Meskel, he's probably about 5 minutes from coming back on the field. But I just got a feeling it could be a little bit too little too late for the Tugun Seahawks. So as we now get restarted here, and the Tugun Seahawks, their defence is just all now just exclusively gone to the middle, mainly to the middle of the field. And so Southport Tigers just knocked that one on 40-35 from their own line. So Seahawks, they're going to need to get on with business here if they have any chance now. I cannot believe that about 10 minutes ago there was only 2 points in it. And I thought Tugun, they were looking good to even get themselves back in front. And how quickly can just turn. They're now staring down the barrel, now staring down 3 converted tries to even just level it. And we're now officially at nearing point a minute stuff. Can be done, but they're going to need to play absolutely flawless here to even get there. As I now play 38 from field. Well, that's going to be a good start to get onto that campaign now for the Tugun Seahawks, as they now play it now 20 metres away from the Southport Tigers line. So this will be Will Johnson to play from dummy half. That's gone into the hands of Anoa Fatu. So this will be Johnson from dummy half, plays the right side of field. That's gone into the hands of Grant. Grant, they still look dangerous inside the opposition 10 here, the Tugun Seahawks. They play from dummy half. They'll get it. Oh, he's just managed with 3 solid Southport Tigers forwards in defence. And they're looking for they had a potential cut-out pass there on the right side, but they're just going to be held there on the 5th and last. This is going to be a big pass there. That's gone into the hands of, I think that's gone into the hands of Corey Bell. So that's going to be another penalty. So, that was costly there from the Southport Tigers on the 5th phase. And the reset button will be set on the tackle count for the Tugun Seahawks. So this is now going to be Nick Harold. And he'll just be met there in defence. Botani's involved there as well. They're 2 metres away from the Southport line. They'll get that into the hands. I think that's Anoa Fatu. And he's just throwing that muscle of his. He's still going. So that was actually Nick Harold. So there's numbers on that right side there for the Tugun Seahawks. And the Southport Tigers, and they forced the error. Well played there by the Southport Tigers in defence. And get themselves off the hook. And so Sammy Meskel will now come back onto the field at this crucial point. But is it going to be too late, too little too late now for the Tugun Seahawks? And they weren't just slightly the best team in the first 20 minutes. They were the country mile the best team. And you wouldn't think it at 34-16. So that means they've only scored 6 points since the 10th minute mark. Or if not even later than that. So Southport Tigers, they're showing some real finals quality at the right time. As I may mention, 4 games straight that they have lost. But at the most crucial time in an elimination semi where there's no tomorrow for today's runner-up, will potentially book an away date against either the Crumb and Eagles and the Burleigh Bears. Of course, you'll see that on Bar TV tomorrow. Scotty will be back on the mic for that one at Pizzey Park. So this will be now played 20 or 12 metres away from the Southport line. And I think that's Mescal there in defence. And they'll be held there in the second phase. So that's added a play for, gets it in the hands of Seve Durbas. So that's gone into the hands of Wateni from dummy half. He's brought down there by Luke Paulson. And so there, I think he's copped a knock for his trouble there, Luke Paulson. And I think they'll just cop one across the jaw there, Luke Paulson. Hopefully he's okay. We have seen a couple of knocks out on this field today. Saw a couple of bad ones in the prelim games as well. So it's a really firm that Owen Park surface is there. It's a really firm, hard surface, and you know all about it when you cop a big hit on this turf. It's an absolute peach of a ground, absolute peach of a facility here. It's an absolute pleasure coming here. I've been at this ground once before, not for a football game, but for a heavy metal concert in the clubhouse. So it's great to actually come here on a football business. So this is going to be played from Liam Hampson from dummy half. So this will be Liam Hampson now from dummy half. So the kick, oh, well read. Nice charge down. So it's going to be 6 more now for the Southport Tigers. 40 out. This one, next try will put it to bed. So this is Liam Hampson, goes for a gallop. And he's just stops in his tracks there. Gets it, offloads into Luke Paulson. They're 30 metres away from the Tugun line. So they're playing short side. And he's changed direction there from, can't make out who that is, Vakatani Pike. He would like to get his 16th try of the campaign here, but he's not going to do so. So they're about 7-8 metres away from the Seahawks line. And there's numbers on the right here for the Southport Tigers. And it's just going to be brought down 10 metres out from the Tugun line on the 4th phase. And so the referee's going to call time here for, so number 6 there, Campbell Paree. They play short side the Tigers. They want to really put this one in the bed and go into next Sunday against either Crumb and Eagles or the Burleigh Bears. So this is going to be Hampson. Plays it from dummy half. Gets it. That's into the hands. I think that's Paulson. And they're looking for that good overlap. And just popped into the hands of Dayberg Muir. And he goes himself. He's just managed to offload it. And they're just keeping this play alive. They're going for the cheeky field goal. And he's just going to miss the left post there. He had all day to kick that one as well. So they're already opted for field goals. And we've got 14 minutes and change left. Well, there you go. So even a field goal at this point, you'd think four scoring plays might just be out of the reach for the Seahawks, but they're still just holding on for dear life. This is most certainly now a different position than what they were in last week. They were down a try. They managed to get level, and then they got one right at the death. And you think now that something has got to come out of this within the next couple of minutes to set up a potential grandstand finish. That's just to even level it, because they're down at three converted tries at the present. So this will be the 4th phase. They're about 38 metres away from the Tigers line. This will be Johnson, plays it from dummy half, plays it short-sided, and nice kicker, beats about 3 or 4 players in defence there for the Southport Tigers. And so that's going to be Rutley. He had a cameo from about 90 metres out before, off the back of his second try. So that's Naz Monzel. Gets it in the hands, brings it in the centre of field. And so they're now about 45 metres away from their own line, the Southport Tigers. And so they're about 2 metres short of halfway. This will be now played by, I think that's Watani from dummy half. He's starting from fullback today. So he was lined up to play in the centre today, Watani, and he's listed at fullback and playing from dummy half. So showing his utility skill here to Watani. So they play the short side. That's going to go up from Dayberg Muir. Nice kick in the corner. And they had the chasers, but it's going to be well read in defence there by the Tugun Seahawks. And they're about 10 metres away from their own line, about 2 metres inside. So the Southport Tigers, they don't really need to do much more. They know this game is pretty much theirs for the taking. They just need to keep their defence, and they know they're good as in for next week against tomorrow's runners-up. Of course, you'll see that on Bar TV, Burleigh Bears and Currumbin Eagles, Pizzy Park, at about 2 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. Of course, we've been kicking off a little bit later in some of these finals. That's obviously because the prelim games going into extra time, as I made mention. We were 20 minutes. Let's just say we were treated for an extra 20 minutes in that under-20s final, which preceded. Glad I got here early to watch it too. It was one of the really tit-for-tat games. And so this will be now scrum feed, 40 metres out from their own line, the Southport Tigers. So trust you join the coverage here on Bar TV. Southport Tigers at 34-16, as I made mention, you wouldn't think that they were well and truly down in the dumps in the first quarter of this game. It's been an impressive 50, 60 odd minutes to get themselves, well, you'd think now like 18 points. The Seahawks, who haven't really, they've scored 1 try since the first, I think, 7 or 8 minutes. Oh, geez, that was a big fend there by McGarty, and for his trouble, he's just lost. So that's one of the try scorers from earlier, Troy Canning. He offloads, but I think he's just gone for the hand of Macaulay Dawson. So let's see what the referee calls here. I think he's going to play the advantage for the Tugun Seahawks, and they'll have a scrum feed 40 out from the Southport line. So, in all fairness, Seahawks, they have to get a try off this set of 6 if there are any chance now to pulling this one out of the fire. So this will be now Sam Maskell to play it from half. So as the Gold Coast sunset comes down, which we're also treated to, of course, courtesy of that prelim game going into extra time. As the sunset goes down here at Old Park in Southport, is the Tugun Seahawks finals campaign going to go along with it? It will certainly be the case if they don't get something in this next set of 6. So they're playing on the short side. That was Will Johnson from dummy half. And they just brought in there just inside 20. They're going to throw everything on this play here. This is Will Johnson. That's gone into the hands. That's gone in the hands of Sammy Maskell, into the hands of Corey Morris. And, oh, geez, Corey Morris has absolutely spilled it. And there's going to be no one there at fullback to greet this potential attacking run there from the Southport Tigers. That was Corey Walker. Does well just to get it shy of halfway. Penalty for a penalty. Not only is he not going to get it, he's going to be safe that he's knocked the ball forward. And now the Tugun Seahawks still breathe some life, even if it's just slightly, into this game. And we're now in the final 10 minutes here at Owen Park. And will this be the final 10 minutes of the Tugun Seahawks campaign? Without a doubt now, they have to go 50 metres and score another 2 like it off the bounce in the next 10 minutes. Can be done. I've seen it done in round 4 of the NRRL competition where the Kyle Turkeys, I've mentioned this time and time again in NRRL coverage, but to just the Gold Coast viewers, look up a game between Northern United versus Kyogle Turkeys, and Northern United were in front literally in the first minute, and Kyogle on no less than 3 occasions were down by 16 points, including 16 points in the last 5 minutes. And then Shannon Walker, who wouldn't be no stranger up this way, playing for the Gold Coast Titans, on the buzzer, won the game for the Kyogle Turkeys by 2 points, 40-38. As we can see, afters here, it's just kicking off their frustrations there, more so from probably on the Tugun Seahawks side. Yeah, if you get a chance, watch that game, do yourself a favour. That's probably across covering these two competitions, as well as a bit of the Country Rugby League rep competition. That, for me, was probably the game of the year as we head towards the last games of Rugby League this weekend. As I think there's no less than 5 or 6 grand finals being taken place just south of the border. So I made mention the NRRL grand finals, one of them next tomorrow. I'm looking forward to being part of that one. As we head down for the last, as it's going to be NRL finals start next week. So we're really at the business September end in the final, as we're in the smack bang middle of September. But with Southport, with their campaign's looking pretty to go on to next week, where they have a revenge date against Currumbin Eagles. They were right into that game too. Like, I was watching bits and pieces of it last week. I think they were even leading at half time in the first 40 minutes, and then they went down. And then they eventually went down 32-16. So it's been an absolute reversal of that. And for the better for the Southport Tigers at 34-16. With that being said, the Tugun Seahawks will now have a scrum feed 35 metres out from their own line. So as the scrum goes down for the Tugun Seahawks, this will, after everything I just mentioned, it's got to come from this play if they have any chance. So Seahawks, they probably would have liked a faster scrum feed coming out of that. It's just giving an extra 30 seconds for the Southport Tigers to set their line as they move up in defence of the Southport Tigers. And he's going to be met there in the tackle by Parihi. And they're about 45 metres away from the Seahawks line. This is going to be played by Troy Canning into the hands. That's Maskell. And he's going to be met there in the tackle there by Denzel Nagati. And they're just shy of the halfway line now, the Tugun Seahawks. This will be the third phase of play, playing into the hands of Johnson. Johnson in the hands of Ano Fatu. And Seahawks managed to offload that. And, oh, nice tackle around the collar there from the Southport Tigers. They're 38 metres away, though, the Seahawks. They're playing from dummy half and geez, so that's going to be all she wrote now for me, the Tugun Seahawks. They've been in it was been their game for the first 20 minutes, and it hasn't been ever since then. The Southport Tigers have just, now they'll ease this in. They'll make some necessary changes to take some of their starting 13 and give them a rest, which will no doubt be the extra day break for them as well. Assuming that, of course, next week's been played on a Sunday. And they'll be now having to obviously play from the road. So if you assume that Burleigh Bears, they'll be going in as favourites, and if they were to get the job done against Currumbin Eagles, it's going to be one end of the north end of Gold Coast to the south. And Southport will have to do it where they started round 1 against the Currumbin Eagles. So this is going to be Rob Appenew in the tackle. Though that's going to have to be one thing for me, that and a penalty to boot. And now that's going to be, so that's going to be now Simone Atta going now for an early shower. Sorry, that's actually now Jermaine Dayberg-Muir. Now it's this time it's the opposite halfback going into the sheds, and this time he'll get first use of the hot water in the Southport Tigers dressing sheds. He's off for an early shower. And if you look at him coming off here, he's not going to be protesting too much. He knows he's done the job for his team. Jermaine Dayberg-Muir set up a great try earlier. So this will be now played from dummy half. That's gone into the hands of Anano Fatu. So this is now Will Johnson. Goes for a gallop. That's gone in the hands of Jacob Grant. Can he potentially get a consolation try? He's going to be fall just short. And they'll play a nice dummy run. He'll get over the line, but I think he's just going to be held off the ball there, the Tugun Seahawks. And they'll have that now fourth phase, 10 metres out from the Southport Tigers line. So we're just inside the final 5 minutes here at Owen Park here for the minor semi-final. Southport Tigers looking home and hosed, but though, for me, their last 15, 20 minutes, we'll just run through with that. So that's Corey Morris, hold off the ball. This is the fifth and last. Southport Tigers, whilst I think they're home, they don't want to concede a try in the last 5 minutes and take some poor momentum. Oh, well read from one end of the kick to the other. Can they complete it? I think he might have lost that one forward, or has he? No, the referee's going to give a try there. Well kick from south to north into the hands, I believe that was Sammy Ladu. Couldn't quite get it down himself. But there, Tim Cassidy adds his 13th try for the year. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I think 34-20 with a kick to come is just going to be out of reach with 4 minutes and change left. But the Southport Tigers, they don't want, as I just mentioned just a minute ago, whilst they might get it done here, I just think their last 15, 20 minutes, especially in attack, has just been a little bit casual. I know that they were protecting the lead, but I just think it's some silly penalties as well as some errors not getting to their fifth set. Because as that Sam Meskel will send the kick over, nice long kick, it's just going to fade away. I just think that's something that they're not going to afford to get away with against the likes of a team that beat them 32-16 on the bounce of the Crumb Eagles. Or even especially a Burleigh Bears team, which has only gone down once this year. So as we see out the last few minutes here at Owen Park. And so, as we get now restarted here, so Tugun Seahawks, I just feel for me that might have been a little bit too little too late. And begs you wondering if Tremaine Dayberg-Muir hadn't, in the case, if he had gone off at the same time as Sam Meskel, would we be talking a different result? Perhaps, but nevertheless, it is 34 points to 20, and Tugun, you'd think like if they had got that kick and two tries back to back in the last few minutes, it was reachable, but three point scoring lead, 3 point scores is just now probably just going to elude them. But they're going to finish off on their shielder, the Tugun Seahawks. But no, not with players like that. Southport Tigers now with about 2 minutes and change left here. This should be their last set of 6. So this is going to be now held off the ball 10 metres off from the Tigers line. They'll play that into their hands. It will be McGrid in the tackle there. Oh, that for me looked like a bit, like he went in with his shoulder and he's just taken him absolutely cleaned up there. I just think he led for me with his shoulder. I think that was Jordan Fatu. Hopefully I got that right. So let's see what the referee calls here. I think he's going to call that a fair hit. So this we now play in the third phase. He's met there 20 metres away, centre of field. So Southport Tigers, they'll just draw out the clock. They'll go into next week for a big prelims final date on the road. As I may mention, either against the Burleigh Bears or the Crumb Eagles. So they'll play this now 30 metres out. And oh, that looked a little bit high for me. The referee tends to agree. And oh, geez, that just collared him right across the chops. And that. And just some of the spectators here, there's a better way to get a day off work. Hopefully he's okay. But geez, seeing that was just slung him right across the face.
And he's back on the seat, which is good to see. And we're in the final minute here at Owen Park. So Southport will see this out. Big long kick. And they're looking here for a case to make this 40 points on their score sheet. Who would, as I said, who would have thought that in the first 10 minutes of this one? Thought Tugun. And that's what I was worried about here about Tugun in this case. And I think I might have even made mention of it against Runaway Bay. They started fast, 16 unanswered points. Southport are just letting them tackle them now. They've had enough of this one. Tugun Seahawks now will go back down Bermuda Street. And what could have been, they went for the second consecutive year, have gone out at week 2. But what an effort by the Tugun Seahawks to get here, pulling one back out of the fire against Runaway Bay last week. But that's just where it's going to end for the Tugun Seahawks. So at least want to put at least a try for their to end the campaign. But it's not going to eventuate, and that's going to be all she wrote for the Tugun Seahawks. And for action here at Owen Park, Southport broke the duck when they needed to in an elimination semi. They've broken their 4-game losing streak, and they will now potentially look for a more important winning streak as they look for back-to-back wins against either the Crumban Eagles or Burleigh Bears. And you'll see that on Bar TV tomorrow at 2 o'clock at Pizzey Park. And if they do eventuate to play against the Crumban Eagles, then they want to fix their last 40 minutes from last week where they were winning at halftime. And then Crumban Eagles just got on with the job. But they'll know now next week is a new week for the Tugun Seahawks. What a pleasure covering them on this Rugby League Gold Coast competition. And hopefully next season get to have it, because they've got the potential to go all the way at Tugun Seahawks. The sole team to get the job done against the Burleigh Bears, but that's going to be all she wrote for season 2019. Of course, you can join Scotty tomorrow on Bar TV to see that coverage, to see who will be lining up against Southport next week and who's going to be the first candidate in this year's grand final. It's full time here at Southport at Owen Park as Southport Tigers 34 to the Tugun Seahawks 20. For the team of Bar TV and the Rugby League Gold Coast, I'm Dwayne Neville. It's been an absolute pleasure coming up over the border to be on deck for the Rugby League Gold Coast action. Join Scotty tomorrow on Bar TV for the contest between the Burleigh Bears and Crumban Eagles. Until then, have a good evening.